basically, I think at this point, there's a decent chance that the US approach is going to be trigger hyperinflation and kill the dollar. The US national debt is denominated in dollars. If they completely wreck the value of the dollar and the American economy reprices, they could pay off those debts for 5, 10, or 10% of the current value of that debt. And that is an entirely realistic proposition. In 1913, they instituted the income tax, which radically transformed the way that America works. Then again, in 1933, they seized all the gold in America. Then in 1971, they instituted fiat currency and then started the money printers. So the idea that America kind of repetitively breaks its financial system and then does a massive systemic overhaul, totally violating previous norms, you can point to a number of occasions where that's happened already, and what is one more when you got that kind of track record. On top of that, push it even further, the idea that you could basically get the American financial institutions to take up the slack. If you get enough Bitcoin into the pension funds, then when you kill the dollar, at least they've still got their Bitcoin. Musk kind of paints the picture here that if we don't get $2 trillion of savings, the government will go bankrupt. Then it's if we don't get $1 trillion of savings, the government will go bankrupt. Then he and Doge got kicked out on their butts. So at that point, kind of what's the plan? And then suddenly there's Bitcoin everywhere. So, I think when we say an enormous systemic reset, you could be looking at a post-dollar world order. And, the US could potentially muscle its way through that crisis because every single attempt to get other people to consume the dollar is simply offloading the damage when you pull the trigger and squash the value of the dollar. So, I think this is becoming a very, very dangerous, very high-stakes game. And I think a lot of the Bitcoiners kind of are here for that game, and that's the game that they always thought they were playing. For the Ethereum people, it's much more like, man, we just wanted to tokenize, pictures of dogs and real estate leases, man. We're not here for global currency wars. And I think the Bitcoin maxis are 100% here for global currency wars, and that seems to be what they're getting.